Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Megan Moore, and on behalf of the Center for Functional Nutrition, I welcome you all to our first Sunday morning coffee house of 2020. It's been an incredible
2021.
pardon, 2021. Yes, I'm sorry. We welcome you all to 2021. It's been quite a week for all of us, and it's just really nice to be able to gather together this morning. I've been looking forward to it. Brian, please, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Megan, and welcome everybody. It's so good to see familiar faces and new faces, and welcome to 2021. What a year 2020 was. Certainly a lot to reflect on there, and we won't belabor it in this introduction here, but just to say that hopefully for all of us, it was an opportunity to open our eyes and our hearts to the people in our lives and to the global community, and reach out and be kind and listen in a way that maybe we had not done before. And that is certainly the mission and purpose of this coffee house, is to provide connection and value and opportunity to share values and principles and methods that are good and kind and bring health and opportunity into people's lives and into their worlds. So thank you all for being on this journey with us. We're very excited to start a new year with all of you. And we know that this is something that's growing organically with all of you, and we appreciate so very much that you join us here and that you share this with your loved ones and communities. So thank you. And without further ado, let's get to what we're all here for, and that is Russell Mariani. And Russell founded the Center for Functional Nutrition in 1980, and his wife and business partner joined shortly thereafter. And they have created a virtual business over the years that impacts lives literally around the world. And it is their mission to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. And I'm going to introduce Russell. He's been doing this work, as I just said, since 1980. But Russell came to this work for a really important reason. And that was because at 18 years old, he had a very severe health challenge. And the system that was available to him at the time didn't give him the answers that he was looking for. And this is probably a story that many people on this Zoom have heard or know someone that has heard. And at the time, Russell didn't have anyone to go to, but he went to the library, read some books, figured it out, and got himself back into health, and has literally been refining his craft and learning and giving what he knows to the world ever since. So Russell is a very profound and knowledgeable human being. I'm very fortunate to call him my dad, and I know he's got something of great value to share today. So Russell, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for that moving introduction. And hello, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday morning coffee house, the first coffee house of the new year. An absolutely beautiful day here in South Hadley, Massachusetts. It's not a cloud in the sky. It's cold, about 30 degrees, but just a very beautiful Sunday morning. A fitting weather for the end of a very difficult week. And I don't want to sell short the difficulty that this week has been I just wanted to share a few things. And I did want to say that what Brian said was true. I did go to the library. I did read a bunch of books. There weren't a lot of people that I could go to back then in the 1973. But fortunately, there were a few people. There was a young woman named Lisa Brick. She was the woman who actually introduced me to traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture and many other things. And then when I did move to Boston, I met a lot of people who were studying natural healing. And without those people, I would not be where I am today. I probably wouldn't have survived my own little healing crisis there. So I'm very grateful to all the people in my life who have been teachers and mentors and friends. We are all in this together, and that is how we heal ourselves, heal each other, heal our world, by helping each other to learn what I've come to call just the principles and practices of natural healing. I prepared a bunch of things for this morning. And then I always wake up the morning of the coffee house, look at what I've prepared, and then decide whether I'm going to share that exactly or maybe do something slightly different. So I did want to share with everybody this morning a personal loss. My uncle, Lee Mariani, died last night from COVID. In June, he would have been 99 years old. So he was 98 years old. And I got a text last night around 8 o'clock. We knew he was in the process of moving on to the next world over the last few days, but we got the news last night around 8 o'clock, and I shared with Megan. And fortunately for me, Brian and Evan were here, and of course Megan was here. And so I don't want to say a lot about that other than probably every person in this country has either lost someone in their own family to COVID, or they certainly know of someone who has died because of this terrible virus. Uncle Lee was my father's older brother by about a year and a few months. I only met him 4 or 5 times in my whole life, but he had a very strong influence on my life. He was an artist. He was a beautiful painter. We have several of his paintings hanging in our home. He was a professional photographer for his whole life. He also did portrait paintings of individuals, and families would come and sit with him. So just want to say I love you, and we'll miss you. Sorry about that. So I don't want to get into anything negative. I don't want to, but I also don't want to gloss over the profound hurt that a lot of people are feeling right now, given the state of affairs in our politics, in the situation. So I just wanted to share a couple of things and then talk a little bit about healing. And hopefully we can all make the connections that healing is what the world needs now, throughout the world, certainly in our country. And we really want to be focused on listening and doing those things that truly nourish ourselves best and support everyone that we know and love to do the things that nourish them best. But I woke up this morning and I had a few things that came clear. And one of those things was a quote from the philosopher Voltaire. Many of you have probably heard this, but he said, and I quote, "Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities." Voltaire was born in 1694. He died in 1778. And again, as many of you know, he was instrumental in the formation of democracy in the United States and in France. So he was a voice and a powerful influence on the formation of democracy in Europe and in America. The other quote I wanted to share is from D.H. Lawrence, who was a favorite writer of mine when I was in college and as a young person in my 20s. And I don't remember where I came across this quote, but I have it in a little index card in a quote box, and I've thought of this so many times over the years. And he wrote this in 1927 at a time when he was an English writer, at a time when Europe was dealing with fascism, with the imminent threat of fascism. And so here's this quote. And I'm going to read it twice. The first time I'm going to read it the way he wrote it. And there's a gender bias in the language that you'll hear. And then I'll read it a second time with just one or two slight changes. We are in a period of crisis. Every man who is acutely alive is acutely wrestling with his own soul. The people that can bring forth the new passion, the new idea, this people will endure. Those others that fix themselves in the old idea will perish with the new life strangled unborn within them. Men must speak out to one another. End quote. So I just want to reread it with a gender neutral language. We are in a period of crisis. Every person who is acutely alive is acutely wrestling with their own soul. The people that can bring forth the new passion, the new idea, this people will endure. Those others that fix themselves in the old idea will perish with the new life strangled, unborn within them, because people must speak out to one another. So, again, very briefly. So the old idea that D.H. Lawrence was talking about was the idea that led to fascism. That this idea that we are separate and unequal. This idea that some of us are better than the rest of us. And of course, the new idea that he was trying to embrace, Voltaire embraced and was trying to bring into the world, this new idea that's been trying to come into the world for generations, is the idea that we are in fact all connected, that we are in fact all members of the same family, and that we do have a shared purpose, and that shared purpose is to honor the earth and each other. This new idea is that what unites us is far more powerful and far more important than what divides us. So again, I know this was a difficult week in many ways. And the only silver lining is that we must come together and heal what's broken in our own lives and seek to heal what's broken in the lives of those we love and everyone that we know and everyone that we don't know, because we are all in this together. And I want to share a poem, one of my favorite poems. I've shared this poem at several memorial services for family members who have died over the last 30, 40 years since I first learned this poem. This is a poem by the American poet Wendell Berry, who I believe is still alive in his mid-90s. I had the great good fortune and blessing to meet him in person at his farm in Port Royal, Kentucky, back in 1981. And this is a poem called The Peace of Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I lie awake at night with the least sound, in fear of what my life and what my children's lives may be. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty and where the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. So again, it's been a difficult week, and if you watch TV or listen to radio, you hear a lot of noise and you hear a lot of opinion and very little opinion that really can bring us together. But that's really what I wanted to focus on today, because there are a lot of stories out there that seek to divide us and seek to harm us, seek to separate us, seek to confuse us. And that is exactly what a virus does. And the truth is that this virus, this coronavirus, doesn't care what your opinion is about anything. It certainly doesn't care what my opinion is about anything. And that's a sobering truth. But the redemptive truth is that a normally functioning immune system inside my body, inside your body, is the only way to protect yourself against the coronavirus or any other virus. Now, should you wear a mask? Yes. Should you wash your hands? Yes. Should you social distance? Yes. Yes, we should do all those things. But we live in a society, we live in a country that doesn't have a healthcare system. And that's why close to 400,000 people have died in the last 12 months alone, and many, many more around the world, because we have a disease care system that waits until people get sick and then tries to treat the symptoms of those conditions with pharmaceutical medicines or surgery. And sometimes pharmaceutical medicines and surgery are necessary. But what's most necessary is that every person learns how to take care of themselves, how to protect themselves, how to nourish themselves in the most basic and fundamental ways. So I wanted to make sure that I had the opportunity to share one of the most powerful truths that exists, one of the most powerful truths that nourishes us and supports us, and that is that a normally functioning immune system can handle any virus at all, any condition, any toxicity. So it is important for us to learn what things that we can do, what things to consume, what things to nourish our body with, so that we can normalize our immune system, so that if we get the coronavirus or any other virus, we may get sick, we may have symptoms, but we will survive. The people who are not surviving are people with seriously compromised immune systems. They probably have multiple preconditions, several medical conditions, and being on different medications. So that's basically what I've tried to do my entire adult life, is to learn the principles and the practices that we can integrate every day and we can share with other people to secure not only our immune system, but every system of our body. every cell of our body. So we have an immune system which is constantly moving around our body. There are about 30 different components of that immune system, constantly on the lookout for any difficulty, any challenges, any rioters, any free radicals, any violent people. Our immune system is constantly on the lookout for that. And when they find them, they know what to do with them. It's not a strange analogy. It's a very accurate analogy. And so again, we need to learn what these things are ourselves, and we need to share these things with other people. And they're not difficult, and they're not expensive. They're easy to do. So I wanted to share one last quote, and then we can, well, let me just do this. This is a quote from the book by Stephen Covey called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's amazing that this particular quote or understanding came through. This was back in 1974, 1976. And I put it in the first few pages of my book, of my new book. And it says this: principles are lighthouses. They are natural laws that cannot be broken. When we take actions that go against these natural laws, we break ourselves in the process. Life itself is composed of lighthouse principles that govern human growth and happiness, natural laws that are woven into the fabric of every civilized society throughout history, and comprise the roots of every family and every institution that has endured and prospered. The fact that we might not see the lighthouse beacon and its desire to guide us into a safe harbor does not alter the importance of its existence. The reality of such principles or natural laws becomes obvious to anyone who thinks deeply and examines the cycles of social history. These principles surface time and time again, and the degree to which people in a society recognize them and live in harmony with them moves them toward either survival and stability or homeostasis, or moves them towards disintegration and chaos and destruction and dis-ease. And so when we see chaos and destruction, we see behaviors that have moved away from the principles of balance and harmony. And when we embrace the principles of balance and harmony that are evident in nature, that are evident in the biology of our own body, then we can move forward with courage, and we can move forward with health, and we can move forward with vitality. And that's what I wanted to share this morning. So thank you, everybody, for listening. I really appreciate you all being here. And Brian, please go ahead. What I would love to do is to open it up. And if someone would like to share, we all will listen, and one person can speak at a time and either ask a question or share a comment. And feel free to share a comment based on perhaps what you experienced this week. So Brian, did you want to add anything to that?
No, just thank you for that, Russell. It was a very, brilliant way to, collect the data and bring it all together, that the area of health and humanity is intertwined. And I love how you bring that to the world. It's awesome. So yes, please just start waving at me and I will call your name. And yeah, Martine, go for it.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for this beautiful speech, Russell, as always. You hit it right on the head. So for me, these past 3 weeks, being home for the first time in a long time, not having to travel back and forth to France these past couple of years, I decided to offer 2 classes of yoga per day for whoever wanted to join. And in fact, it has been extremely in the same light of what you're describing, and especially this year, kind of bookending the day with yoga, finding yourself on the mat, really, you know, isolating oneself from all the noise that's around us that is so toxic. We live in a very sensationalized society where news go in a loop. And one of the principles of yoga is really, as you know, to control what comes in here, what we say, because it does affect our cells and our ability to be healthy. And so it has been a saving grace in a way to be able to finally be home and be able to do that. And I have to admit, it was really transformative for me. And I was always very humbled, and I still am, by the people who show up on their mat to just, take the class. So whatever we do, whether it's a walk or writing or taking pictures or meditating, it is even more so crucial right now to join what you were saying, Russell, to really kind of block what's going on a little bit, because it's very anxiety provoking, right? And then it weighs on us and it affects our ability to function, our health to remain stable. So that was my journey that intersects totally what Russell is saying, and you know me well enough to know my lifestyle, but so just wanted to share that. So whatever your journey is, whatever your penchant or whatever your passion or what you find to ground yourself and anchor yourself, keep at it, because more than ever before, we need it. And I think I really believe in the ripple effect of centering energy, right, and breath through the world. So thank you. Namaste.
Yeah, Martine, that is such a beautiful message, and so in alignment with, the underlying message that, everyone, I believe, who's come on the Coffee House has shared, which is the opportunity of 2020 to self-practice, to self-nurture, so that we can all be the best versions of ourselves. And absolutely, that energy does matter. It does have a ripple effect. And you just put it beautifully. So thank you for always being here and for being a part of that ripple effect with us. Thank you. Cornelia, I saw you. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Russell. That was really beautiful. I love the poem, and it was just really grounding and bringing us back to who we are. And I only want to add that it's such an important time to really realize what our impact in our lives is, and that what we do is important, and what we do in our communities is important, and that some of the immune suppressant activity really comes from not knowing who we are and having these inner conflicts about where we need to go, what we need to do, and really having an inner conflict. And that inner conflict at the same time really brings up stress hormones, and these stress hormones in effect suppress the white blood cell count again. So at the same time as we practice our generally really healthy habits, we also need to do our inner work to see, oh, who am I and what am I peaceful with? What can I do? This is mine to do, and how does that calm my whole system, and finding out ways and and practices that help us with that conflict resolution and help us finding out who we are is always a really, really wonderful thing to add to our immune health. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Cornelia.
that's such an important message, Cornelia. You know, it's when I hear that, you know, I personally always get reminded of, you know, what Russell says, and this is probably one of those principles, but it just rings true. You know, I just hear Russell's voice. You know, nothing is neutral, and that goes beyond just the food that we eat. You know, it really is. It's spiritual. It's energetic. And, you know, I love what you were saying about the conflict resolution, because, you know, how can we be able to go out into the world to be a part of non-conflict if we ourselves are in conflict? So I love that reminder, Cornelia. That's so important. Anyone else waving at me? Yes. Oh, go for it. Yeah, Allie.
Well, yes. Well, Martine and Cornelia really added a great amount to this conversation. I want to thank you for all that. And, you know, I just, the word intuition just came in my mind that if Martine is saying, or Russell was saying, if you convince somebody of absurdities, well, what's the filter? I mean, how does someone decide what's an absurdity or not, or what's appropriate for who I am or not? And that to me comes down to intuition and learning to feel, check in with myself. And, you know, most times I feel it in my gut, which anyone who studies the subconscious knows what I mean by that. And so what does that mean? So you get to ask yourself these questions over and over. I'm feeling this, Cornelia, you know, the uncertainty or the, you know, stress. Okay, well, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm supposed to do this or not supposed to this? You know, accept this or not accept this? And so that's a real part of personal journey, because we get to practice that every day. When I'm putting a lunch date on my calendar with somebody, I check in with myself, my gut, and go, okay, is this day gonna work out fine? Or should I put it on a different day? Okay, now how do I feel? And I'll go, you know, I think I'll change it. How about Thursday at 10 instead of Wednesday at 10? I don't know why I'm feeling one's better than the other at that moment, but it may turn out Wednesday wouldn't have worked out anyway. But anyway, so you first practice on little things like that and feel yourself stressing or not stressing about little things. And then when it's a bigger thing, you have more confidence in your own intuition.
Yeah, I love that, Allie. I think it's, you know, about being in tune, right? So the more you get to know yourself and the more confidence you have in who you are and what you can bring into the world, that's like you're in tune and you're sending that vibration out, and you can, you know, be so much more powerful in, you know, how you go out into the world. I love it. Anyone else? All right, so let's get to the good news. Oh, sorry, Pat, did you raise your hand? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I was just coming back from my hike. So it was about 19 when I was out hiking earlier. A little cold out here. There was something I was reading and I thought that would be appropriate for what Allie was saying about getting in touch with your authentic self and listening and hearing and getting messages. And there was a little practice that was offered, and it's 3 questions. What surprised me today? What inspired me today? And what touched my heart today? And if you think about those things during the day and think back and figure that out, then you'll be practicing that listening to yourself. And so I thought that was kind of a nice little way of doing that. What surprised me today? What inspired me today? What touched my heart today? And I think that's what we need to look at in the world, especially at this time, as we transition from this breakdown and we're doing breakthrough right now, and this is all part of it. So I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, Pat, absolutely fabulous. I love it. You know, there's some great quote that I'm not going to get right, but it's something like, if you master a great question, you can pretty much solve everything. You know, it's like the intention of creating from that place. I love those questions. Awesome. All right. Okay, let's do some good news. Russell, take us away.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Martine, for sharing. Thank you, Cornelia, for sharing. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Pat. Really, just thank you. It was perfect, right on, complimentary. We all have pieces of the puzzle to share. I'm going to share a short video in just a second. I just wanted to, when Allison was speaking, I remembered this truth, phrase, whatever, that the ultimate human freedom is the freedom to choose our response to anything that happens. Anything that's said to us, anything that happens in our own life, anything that's happening in the world, the ultimate human freedom is the freedom to choose our response. And with that so I think everybody should mute themselves if they're not currently muted. Okay, looks like everyone is. So I just have to share my screen. Make sure your sound is good. And this is a blessing for all of us. Let's see.
You think this is just another day in your life? It's not just another day. It's the one day that is given to you today. It's given to you. It's a gift. It's the only gift that you have right now. And the only appropriate response is gratefulness. If you do nothing else but to cultivate that response to the great gift that this unique day is, if you learn to respond as if it were the first day in your life and the very last day, then you will have spent this day very well. Begin by opening your eyes and be surprised that you have eyes you can open. That incredible array of colors that is constantly offered to us for pure enjoyment. Look at the sky. We so rarely look at the sky. We so rarely note how different it is from moment to moment with clouds coming and going. We just think of the weather, and even of the weather we don't think of all the many nuances of weather. We just think of good weather and bad weather. This day, right now, is unique weather. Maybe a kind that will never exactly in that form come again. The formation of clouds in the sky will never be the same that is right now. Open your eyes, look at that. Look at the faces of people whom you meet. Each one has an incredible story behind their face. A story that you could never fully fathom. Not only their own story, but the story of their ancestors. We all go back so far. And in this present moment, on this day, all the people you meet, all that life from generations and from so many places all over the world flows together and meets you here like a life-giving water if you only open your heart and drink. Open your heart to the incredible gifts that civilization gives to us. You flip a switch and there's electric light. You turn a faucet and there's warm water and cold water and drinkable water. It's a gift that millions and millions in the world will never experience. So these are just a few of an enormous number of gifts to which we can open your heart. And so I wish you that you will open your heart to all these blessings and let them flow through you, that everyone whom you will meet on this day will be blessed by you. Just by your eyes, by your smile, by your touch, just by your presence. Let the gratefulness overflow into blessing all around you. And then it will really be a good day.
Thank you, everyone. We love you. Blessings on everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a peaceful and loving week. We all have so much to be grateful for. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
everyone.
Bye.
you
Thank
very
you.
much.
See
Bye.
you next
Thank you.
Sunday.
Stay safe. Be well.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
That was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.